Hey everybody, this is Chris with ORBTraders.com. I'm going to go over the August 26th trade recap and set levels in our plan for Wednesday, August 27th. So let's just dive right on in. I think if you were following along in Discord or trading at all today, you would have realized how much chop was occurring for the first 3 hours. I mean, even after we finally got a break above on the opening range. The ES had a very small opening range, only 9 3/4. Oh, I apologize. 8 3/4 points. I think I was just looking at the 3-minute. Let me back up here before we get ahead of ourselves. So the 15-minute, let's see, let's verify this. Yes, 9.5 points of range. And if we go over and look at the NQ on the 15-minute, just take the studies off here. 55.25. Then there's a pretty big hammer up, wick down. Obviously the sellers failed. I did not get into any orb shorts today. I was long the whole time. However, my entry was pretty short. And it's funny because I was not practicing what I preach, and that was specifically the plan. And the plan is, when we have a break above the opening range, the first thing you need to ask yourself is there a key level? I call them daily levels since the overnight open was a daily level, but is there a key level that's in the way outside of the opening range within 5 even to 10 points? And there was. The overnight open was at 59.25. And the top of the opening range was at 57.5, so only a couple points away. We did close above it on the 15, but let's break it down to the 5 and look back. And you'll see we had 2 wicks tagging overnight open, failed back down, finally one broke above, and it did close above, but our reference to enter is the candle that comes after. So you've got your breaker, which we have that in yellow on the study, but then you have the follow-up candle. Does that candle qualify? And by qualifying, I'm asking, is it opening or closing at least where the prior candle that broke closed? Does it open up at that close? And does it close above the breaker close? This one clearly didn't. It opened up where this one closed, but it closed inside, and then we continued into the opening range, tagged the prior day low, tons of chop. We had a few other attempts to go above overnight open. It did look at this point, I was contemplating going short and reversing, but I did not reverse because I was looking at the internals and I kept on seeing lower lows on the VIX and on the VXN. This tracks the NQ, and both of the NQ and the ES continued to just chop. We stayed above prior day lows. Our first breakdown was right at the 15-minute breaker, or sorry, 15-minute once that candle closed, but it immediately came right back into play. So this did not qualify. It did not continue lower. It immediately bounced right back up. And same with this candle, it did not qualify. However, I didn't listen to my rule. I jumped in. I'm a human. I make mistakes. What's important is being honest with your trades, and when you enter, and just trying to improve on those things every single day. Just try to get a little bit better, and strive. You can strive for perfection, I'd say, but just strive to learn something from the current day. And that's why it's important that you go back and review the trading session. And I like to do it later on in the evening or in the afternoon, generally when the overnight open has opened and we see what that price is, but also because I don't want to just do my trade and then do a recap. I want to see what the rest of the day has for us in terms of price action, and more importantly, I want to just step away, get a break from the charts, get refreshed, go on and do other things, and then come back with a clear mind and get realigned to what I'm actually looking for. And it's helpful to look back at these trading days And like I always say, and you've probably always heard this, hindsight is 20/20, but it is very helpful, regardless of whatever your entry is, to look back on the session and take note of where you were looking to enter, where you were looking to close, line those decisions up with significant levels, with your internals, and if you didn't form context in your trade of why you took that, work on that. Work on your decision-making process before you just jump in. And also remember, you don't have to trade every day. There is always going to be another day to trade, so long you're healthy, of course, and you can keep trading, which I hope you can. But yeah, so anyways, let me get off that soapbox and just get back into the action here. What we saw was the overnight open get in the way, and I kept on saying we need to have a close above it and then another candle break above and close above that breaker. So you had this first breaker here, or sorry, the second breaker officially that tagged the overnight open, closed right on it. I was watching this candle thinking we would come back down, but I stayed in it because the internals kept on going lower. We did get a pop. This is long after I was out though. I guess that started at 10:45 Mountain Time. But while I was trading, it kept on going lower and lower and lower. And like I say, my traditional orb play is when the volatility measurement goes the opposite way of the actual product. And with the ES, that would be the VIX. So we broke above that. We set our initial balance high. I like to mark those after the first hour. We never came back and touched the lows, but we continually oscillated around the initial balance high of the day, the Asia high, and then there was a 5-minute fair value gap from the prior day. I just marked the top because a lot of the overnight action before actually retraced and touched that. And then later on in the afternoon, similar like to yesterday, but pretty much inverse, we finished higher and took out the highs of yesterday. Whereas yesterday, we pretty much did the exact opposite. We finished lower after breaking above. But this, I guess I shouldn't say that. Let me just look really quick. Yeah, so we broke above, had that orb long, and then that volume is what I'm trying to say. Volume kicked up near the end of the day. I wasn't really watching if there was news or something or what was going on, maybe some news with Lisa Cook or whatever, but volume picked up near the end of the day, and that's great if you're able to sit at the charts every day and just hold and keep that position going. I could have certainly sat here all day. I didn't want to. I normally want to be out of here by 9 my time in the morning. That's 9 a.m. Mountain Time, but I don't get to tell the market what to do and when to do it. I just have to wait for the price to shape up. So we did break yesterday's high, and we set a new high for the week, and we filled that gap from Friday to Monday. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that level and start charting the levels for tomorrow. So let's take off that fair value gap, the Asia high. I will replot these tomorrow, these initial balances, and then also take this guy out, and we'll update where the prior day low is first. So prior day low at 64.44 half, and we can just say Tuesday. And then our prior day high is going to be, if I can get the line to drag all the way over. And this is where settlement was at 64.86. And our overnight open, let's plot that. Overnight open was at 64.86.75. I'm gonna make this same width as the others. Last week high still is above us at 64.96 half. Let's go out to the 10-day 15. And let's see where did we open on the week, just to make sure we have that as well. We're above that, so that's another level that I would like to just be aware of, where the weekly high, excuse me, the weekly high opened up. You can go with I know a lot of people follow like the new week opening gap and opening price. I just stick with your current week high, so that would be 64.94, and we can make that blue. Put this on the right, and then our current week low was set here. I'm actually going to update this. I'm going to make this orange. Current week low. Orange to me just signifies it is, oops, that's the wrong level. It is overnight pricing that was set. So I always try to differ between overnight and RTH levels. The low of that 64.30.75. And looking to remove all these arrows. Guess these don't really matter anymore. So we've got our current week low, current week high. Our current week low of the RTH session was actually set today, though, with a little bit of a spike down at 64.44 half. So I'm just going to keep that on there. So I think we're good overall. I'm going to just change this color so this stands out. This is the RTH all-time high set back on the 13th of August. And we're getting very close to going back up there. But let's just look into any fair value gaps first on the 15. See if there's anything worthy of noting. Suppose you can go from 64, 63, 25 to 64, 64, 25. It's honestly just a point, but might as well just add it on there. That is a 15-minute fair value gap. I think this is literally a point. High of this 64, 63, 25. The low of this is 64, 64, 25. Make that gray. And I'm just going to put in here 15-minute fair value gap. Tuesday. Activate that. Alright, so we got that in. I also want to grab the 30-minute and just see what we have on the 30-minute. A little bit of a fair value gap between these two. Again, very small. I don't know if that's really worth noting. You can note this one that went into settlement. High is 64.76.75, and then low is 64.79.25. So less than 3 points. Just duplicate that, put that up there, and then change this to 30-minute. So all we're doing is finding significant levels and pretty much drawing those. That's all that we do, but we stick to the same plan. So if you've been following along, there's really not much else to do other than get our level set, which we're pretty much done here. Prior day low, prior day high, a couple fair value gaps on different time frames. If you want to even break this down further and go to the 5-minute and look for any gaps, here's actually a pretty decent one. From here to here. The high of this is 64.72 half, and the low is 64.77. We'll extend this over and duplicate this guy. Edit 5-minute. I suppose you could grab this one, but it's already getting cleared up and retraced. Then you have additional 5-minute fair value gaps here below. One there, that one's way too small. Totally up to you if you want to plot these or not. I'm just going to add these on here just so I'm aware of them. High is 64.60.75. Low is 64.61. Hold up, I'm at 64.61.75. All right, I don't really want the text bleeding into tomorrow's price action, so just keep that in mind. Draw this over. Let's just go 15.15. We'll make all these line up. And I don't think you can see this because I am on the settings and I'm only sharing Thinkorswim, so sorry about that. Just going in on these boxes on the settings and changing the time to match up with settlement. Okay, so several fair value gaps, right? Orb long previously. We're getting close to those all-time highs again. I would not be shocked to see us chase and maybe even set new all-time highs. But just be aware, there's a lot of folks looking for these levels to be taken out and then to go exactly back down to some liquidity below us, which you could target current week low. You could target the fib levels below, but note these are still holding and targets are above. That is one thing also, if you looked at today, there was a handful of fib touches, the RTH fibs. So what you do is you look at the low of the day, go for that first high breakout, and you can see we're hanging in the 38, 50, 61. I think I'm going to change this drawing so it's a little easier to see this guy. We're hanging in there of the fib zone that was set, and we kept on bouncing all the way up to the profit target, which again, I thought these were already green. I didn't save these defaults, so let me save these. And we hit 1, 2, 3 fib targets all during the day. Now, if you would have held on throughout the day, congratulations to you, round of applause. I don't have time to stick around all day and do that, but if you do, awesome work. There were multiple tags on the 50 here and here, and targets got very close after that first tag twice. But prior day low kept on holding from Mondays, so if we were to redraw this back in here, we see that that black line still holding, and we didn't have any follow through. We had that first candle down earlier in the first 15 minutes, but reversed right away. All right, so I think we're pretty much set for those levels. We could then grab that fib and go from the low of the day to the high of the day. And then now what we would look for is any potential bounces off of the zone that is set here. For fibs, we can, I don't know, we can go gold. What color is not going to obstruct everything else? And then we'll need to, like, what I like to do is just make these exact. So the low was 64.44 half, and the high 64.86 half. That will make the fib levels as exact as possible. Obviously, you can't trade 46 cents or 54 cents. You know what, that color is kind of atrocious, so I don't know if I want to keep staring at that all day. Maybe we stick with let's just go with that, and then also update this to 14, 15. So we'll see if this one holds similarly to all the other fibs that have been holding and hitting profit targets, or getting closer to them. If we do get some buying volume, I would just be honestly looking for 6500s tomorrow, but it's all going to depend on the opening range. So we've got all these levels set below and above. What we're looking for tomorrow, I know there's a lot of levels on here, so it can get confusing and maybe a little bit overwhelming to some people, but chart what you want, do what works for you. For me, I am going to be looking for the opening range breakout. For example, if we go here, we're going to be looking for a breaker. And then we're going to be looking at the next candle to see what the life is like. If we are 2.5 minutes into the candle, and sorry about that, and you know the first 2 minutes kind of look like this. I might be thinking, okay, this could shape up. I want to see it get above this candle though. If we are 2.5 minutes into this, and these are 5-minute candles. If we were 2.5 minutes into these 5-minute candles, and instead we're looking like this. Oops. Oh, this is a terrible drawing. I will not be getting in on a long there. That does not qualify. So you have your breaker, and then you have your qualifier. And I am counting down that 5-minute candle's lifetime or lifespan. And I am just waiting to see, is it going to close above this breaker? And then at the same time, what are we looking for? Daily levels, market internals, and equities. And along with the indices, if they're all trending the same way. So market internals are the VIX for the ES, or the VXN for the NQ. You can also look at the futures. You go here, just type in VX. You can also look at the contract itself. I am just used to using the VIX, but that's the plan. And so we gotta wait and see where the hell our opening range is. Sit and wait. Don't trade for the first 15 minutes is my plan. And I have that charted with these white candles. So here's 5-minute candles showing up with 1, 2, 3. The first 3 white, meaning stay out. And we're waiting for breakers to show us where price will go. I'm not going to predict it. I might take a guess, and my guess will be we could see 6400s plus and set a new all-time high tomorrow. But in the moment when I'm actually taking that trade, I'm not taking a guess at all. Honestly, I don't give a shit if it goes up or down. My 401k and my investments give a shit if I'm long, but for future scalping, up or down, either way, I'm just waiting for price to tell me what to do. The other thing let's just consider is what news we have. I don't think we have a ton tomorrow. Let me just pull up FOMC on this other calendar. Hold up. I lost my calendar, and I think I plotted in Discord last week's. So sorry if anybody's looking at last week's news in Discord. Let's look at this week. Okay, so crude oil inventories 1 hour into the market open at 8:30 a.m. Mountain Central Time. Barkin, FOMC speaker, tentatively going to speak. So nothing major. The main thing to consider, though, is the big boy reporting. That is NVIDIA. They are going to be after the bell. You can see if you use Thinkorswim where earnings are going to be plotted. And clearly NVIDIA keeps on going up day after day after day. Let's go out even further though. We're not at the all-time high, so that's 185. Or at least, let's see, is that all-time highs for NVIDIA's? Let's go back to the day. Take out the studies. Yeah, 185s. I would not be shocked if this breaks above and sets a new all-time high. So that's going to be Wednesday after the bell. It's really not impacting intraday ES trading, in my opinion. So that's pretty much my plan. I'll plot out some targets. And I want to clarify one thing too with my targets that I do put out. The first targets, my primary targets that I put in Discord are the orb targets. So if I turn my studies on, you're going to see these plotted right here and right here. And those are solely dependent on the opening range, how much range we get. Like today, 9.5 points, not a ton. But I look for those first. I add in additional daily targets, prior day highs, etc. that I put in. Just check out the daily trade plan, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But essentially 50% of the opening range and then 100% of the opening range, and then stop losses with a small range, depending on the account you have. You could simply use the opposite end of the opening range. You can use the breaker, the opposite end of the breaker candle, VWAP. It depends on your account size. It may be helpful to make like a cheat sheet on account size and whether you're using micros or minis. I'm not going to do that though. I am not your risk manager, and I'm just educating folks on the opening range strategy that I trade. So, but in general, there's dynamic stop losses that I do put in my Discord. So yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up. This video got way longer than I expected. Sorry. Hopefully you guys have played it in 2x speed. If it's too slow for you. But yeah, that's all I got, and we will see y'all in the YouTube live stream. If you would like to join, feel free and ask questions in the stream. I hope you found this useful. I hope you guys have a good night. Take care.